Hello and welcome to PDQ's The Business of Food. I'm your host, Alex Schwartz, Marketing Manager at PDQ Signature Systems. You know us from point of sale systems in hospitality and restaurants all across the United States. Today we're discussing food, career journeys, and the future of technology in casinos with Patrick Tinklenberg, VP of IT at one of our newest clients, Sycuan Casino Resort. How are you today, Patrick?
I'm doing wonderful.
Awesome. Patrick graduated from San Diego State University with a master's in physics. He worked as an IT director for several years, providing consulting to a variety of industries before joining Sycuan Casino as VP of IT, now more than a decade ago. He's also held a role as an advisory board member with an organization we love dearly, TribalNet, since 2010. As part of executive leadership, Patrick has helped lead Sycuan Casino's continued growth, including a purchase of 1,200 acres of land in 2014 and a $260 million expansion of their facilities in 2019. So, Patrick, are you ready to talk about the business of food?
I'd love to, thank you.
Awesome, and thank you for being here.
You're very welcome. Thanks for having me.
Yes. So starting off light, what's the best or most memorable dining experience you've had in the past year?
So I had an opportunity to dine at this really unique venue. I was looking for something local and small to try out, and found out about this food truck that had been rated the #1 food truck in the country. Ooh. It's called the Shawarma Guys here in San Diego. And it's a little food truck. They park in a parking lot right across the street from a church. And they're in kind of central San Diego. And I drove over there, and typically the lines are forever long. And I got there, it was kind of early in the evening, not a ton of people there yet, and tried their food, and it was absolutely spectacular. Coming from a little food truck in a tiny parking lot, I was amazed. I was absolutely amazed.
Awesome. Do you remember what your order was?
I had the chicken shawarma, but it was spectacular. It was spectacular. And then the sides, the rice, and everything that went with it, and the pitas, and it was just amazing. It was absolutely amazing to think that it came out of this little food truck. It was great.
That's awesome. Well, I think great food experiences can happen anywhere, particularly in this casino resort, yes. But certainly if they can come out of a food truck, I think there's endless possibilities for how you can have a great dining experience.
Definitely.
I hope I've given a decent overview of Sycuan Casino Resort, but I know I've left plenty of stuff out. What would you like our audience to know about this amazing casino resort that I've now, by the way, had an opportunity to stay in, and I am blown away by the hospitality experience here. I'm blown away by the 8 restaurant locations, and I've got to say, I don't maybe have as large a sample size as the average person, but I think this is the nicest casino resort I've ever personally stayed in.
That's wonderful. That's wonderful. Well, thank you. Yeah. Honestly, there's so many great things about this property, and I could talk a lot about the amenities and all of those things. I think one of the things that strikes me the most, and it's funny you mentioned being here over 10 years now, which makes me feel a little old, but the thing that I noticed first, and still is probably the most striking thing about this place, is the people. We've got so many people that have been here for 10, 15, 20, 30 years. Since we've been open now 40 years. We had our 40th anniversary. And we have people who've been here since we opened. We have 40 people who've been team members for 40 years. Their badge numbers are single digits. It is absolutely unbelievable. And they know our guests by name, and they come in, and guests come up and say hi to them. They exchange Christmas cards. It's absolutely unbelievable. And that drives all of this customer service and the genial nature and friendliness, which I'm sure, hopefully you experienced, but certainly it impacts all of our team members, and hopefully our guests find it just an amazing experience as well.
Well, I personally have, and yeah, I think there's kind of a palpable culture to the hospitality here. I've had so many, individual positive experiences with so many of the staff members here. I know a few of them by name, Mercedes and Buffalo, and what kind of drives that culture to be able to retain employees and retain staff over the course of 3 to 4 decades?
Yeah, it's, honestly, it really starts from the tribe and the tribe's culture and their culture of really embracing people as family. When you work here, they embrace you immediately as family. They treat you like family. We went through COVID, obviously, everybody did, And a lot of organizations had to make choices about how they were going to continue to operate the business for the time that they were shut down. And the tribe was absolutely amazing. We kept people on payroll. We continued to pay their benefits. It was unbelievable because they didn't want to let family down, and they didn't want to let them go. And so I think that that's the culture, and it comes from tribal leadership. It comes from the community around us, and then it permeates everything else around here. It's an amazing thing.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Who were your heroes when you started your career in IT, and have you developed new ones?
You know, honestly, I think I was struggling with the word heroes because I don't know that I've had a lot of heroes in IT. I think the people that impacted me the most in IT were the folks I saw around me. Now, I came out of a science background. Obviously, my degree is in physics, and so Neil deGrasse Tyson, he was a hero of mine, right? Somebody that I idolized, somebody who honestly embodied all of the curiosity and the things that I wanted to be as I was growing up. But in IT, it was the people that I saw every day doing their jobs, making sure that things were working, seeing how to interact best with the business, how IT and technology could support that, and then just making sure it all got done. Not looking for accolades, not trying to be, the rock star IT guy, just making sure everything got done, and then coming back with, here's a problem, here's how we can fix it. And honestly, that's the philosophy I've adopted, and that's what I try and instill in my whole team is, we have to support the business. You have to understand the people you're supporting. And I've learned that whether it's, and I hate to call out names and they're going to be super embarrassed, but Mike Day is a great example of that. And he has always embodied that. It's this culture of giving back, of making sure that people know that they're important, and that they understand the big picture of everything. So that's, it's folks like him and Mike Murphy at Verona, who hired me there. Same thing, just great people, and certainly people I looked up to, and kind of laid out the path for me on my journey.
Have you heard Neil deGrasse Tyson's podcast? I think it's called Star Talk.
Yeah, I love it.
It's so good.
It's the best.
Yeah.
It's the best. Yeah, Carl Sagan too. Dragons of Eden is one of my favorite books of all time. He was also kind of one of those folks that really inspired me. Not really set me on any kind of career path, but definitely inspirational.
Speaking of the stars, what has been your guiding star for how you've developed the Sycuan Casino customer experience?
Yeah, I think honestly, it's super simple. For me, it's super simple. It's that kind of golden rule attitude. Treat people how you want to be treated, right? If I go into a hospitality experience, honestly, if I go into any experience, I want people to value me. I want to be treated like I'm special, even if I'm one of 1,500 people in the room, right? Find a way to make people, to understand what people want, what they need, what's driving them, and then make them feel special. It doesn't take a lot. It's little itty bitty things that we can do every single day, and I try and do that with my team in IT, and then we try and support all of the wonderful folks here who are doing that every single day, and we want to give them all the tools that they need to do that. And as long as we're doing that, and they're happy doing their jobs, I think we try and do it well.
What is the meal you think you've eaten most in your life?
Yeah, this is a great question. This is actually, of all of the questions we were thinking about, this is the one I struggled with the most. I love cooking. I absolutely love cooking. I cook all the time. I cook 5 days a week for my kids, but maybe 6 days a week for my kids. And as they grow up, right, their tastes change, and so things kind of evolve. I think the one thing that I've made since they were little that we still make, I don't know if it's every week, but maybe every other week, is mac and cheese. Okay. I make a homemade mac and cheese that is really, really good, and we eat it. And there's always leftover cheese sauce, and then we use the cheese sauce in all kinds of things later on. But they love the mac and cheese, and we never have leftovers, no matter how much I make. But I've been making it since they were, 2 and 3 years old, and I still, when I make it, they get all excited, and so I think that's the one I make the most.
Any tips you could share on how to make your famous mac and cheese? Yeah,
honestly, I use cavatappi pasta, It's got more ridges and stuff in it to hold the cheese. So that helps a lot. And then a little bit of cayenne, a little bit of Worcestershire in the cheese sauce makes it really tasty.
Yeah, I didn't even think about putting Worcester sauce in there.
Yep.
That's really cool. I've done the cayenne. The Worcester's a nice touch.
It is.
That's cool.
It does. Got a little bit smoky, a little bit like savory. Yeah.
What is the food or hospitality trend that you're most excited about?
What's funny is I don't know that I mean, there are all kinds of technology trends happening in hospitality and food. The one thing I think I like the most that I see around San Diego, certainly, and I feel like I've seen it in other places around the country, and maybe it's because I'm gravitating towards it, but is the smaller restaurants that are really embracing, I don't want to call it farm to table, but really, fresh ingredients and not huge menus, not massive portions, but quality and care in terms of how they're making their food. I love that there are local little eateries and restaurants that are springing up where I live in Scripps Ranch and in other areas around San Diego County, where maybe all you had was an Applebee's or something like that, a big chain place, and now you've got 5 or 6 smaller places, all doing well since COVID, and some of them even opening up during. And I absolutely love that trend, and I hope it continues to grow because I love supporting local places, and I love people who really love making their food and take really great pride in it and use really good ingredients.
Yeah, I agree. I hope that trend continues, and I think there's also something to be said about building those kind of intimate dining experiences where people feel like they can really commune with one another and really be in their party rather than those noisy environments that are larger.
Yep. Agreed.
I think I certainly had that experience last night here at Suerte.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, this is a great venue. This is a really good venue.
How has the industry changed since you got involved in it? And what do you believe has kind of informed those changes?
Yeah. So I think for me, the 2 biggest things I've seen change, and they're really related. The use of data. I think as an industry, and I'm talking about kind of the casino hospitality industry, not necessarily IT industry. IT industry, like I could say something now, and by the time this airs, it will have changed again. So it's really hard to keep up with that. But in the casino industry, I think our use of data, we've always generated a ton of data, but I think we've become more mature in terms of how we use and analyze and make use of all of that data that we're capturing. And I think that's been instrumental in driving kind of what I see as the second change, which is being able to quickly make changes, being able to pivot, being nimble, being able to make a decision one day and then say that's not the right decision and make another decision the next day and deploy it across 2,300 slot machines and 2,500 employees and 300 hotel rooms and we never did that. When I first got here, we would pick a marketing program and that was it for the year. Like, this is what we're going to do for the year. And we would move forward with it. And then at the end of the year, we'd reevaluate, look at all of the data for the year. Now we're analyzing every single week. How did we do? What do we need to change? What do we need to add? And it is so much faster, and we have to be so much quicker and more nimble. And it changes the relationship with IT and everybody else because we have to provide data in a consumable format. That's part of our job. We have to integrate systems and provide a comprehensive view of our guest. So we're not just looking at their gaming data, we're looking at their hotel data, we're looking at their spa data, if they're going to play golf, where they're eating, how many times they're staying during the week, what kind of offers are they redeeming. All of those things have to be gathered up, and then we feed them into a system that helps us make fast decisions. And then we work with marketing, we work with food and beverage and try and help them make those kinds of decisions. And that is, I would say for us, a big change, even just in the last, I'd say 3 years. Very, very significant.
That's so many data points.
It's unbelievable.
That's so many data points. And then to be able to have a system that can then make decisions based on that, to be able to maximize that guest's experience. I can't imagine that we were even capable of doing that 20 years ago.
No, and what's funny is we kind of had all the same data, but people just the maturity wasn't there in the industry. There was a lot of folks who, who came into this industry, especially working for tribes, came from the casino industry, commercial casino industry, whether it was Vegas or New Jersey or someplace else where they have things other than tribal gaming, and so they thought that they knew. They'd been in the industry for 20, 30 years, and we know how players are going to play, and we know what they want, and we know what they're going to do. They never wanted to look at the data. And so I think that there's been a change as we get a newer generation of folks in. They understand that data really does drive decisions, or should drive decisions, and so I think that change has been slowly coming, and it's really kind of met its moment in the last couple of years.
It sounds to me, and maybe this is a crazy thing to say, but it sounds like the hospitality sector has moved and embraced analytics kind of similarly to the way that sports has.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah, definitely. I might even say sports was a little bit ahead of us, but yeah.
Is there one tool or change you've made in your organization that you'd like to highlight that has allowed, Sycuan to level up?
I don't think it was so much of a tool as it was a practice. So one of the things that I really enjoy doing is engaging with my team members and trying to understand what it is they want to kind of do in terms of their career growth. And so we spend a lot of time in IT trying to move people into higher value positions. And so I try and bring folks on that have a lot of ambition, that are intelligent, and can make a lot of their own decisions. And so what I try and do is I try and give them the big picture. And then I say, okay, I hired you because you're smart, and because you're capable. Make your own decisions. You know where we're trying to go. Rock and roll. If you have questions or if something gets in your way, I'm the guy that gets things out of the way. You go ahead and just do your job and make sure it gets done. And I think that philosophy that I was able to bring in when I came here, it took a while. It's a culture change, right? A lot of folks are very top down in their organization, and they're like, okay, you do this and you do this and you do this, and that's it. And we're not so much. We're kind of big picture. I just need you to understand kind of the goals and where we're going, and then I'll let you make your own decisions. And I think that has allowed a lot of us to, and again, it gets to flexibility, right? People can make decisions. They don't have to come to me and say, should I be doing this? Should I be doing that? I'm like, I don't. It's your job. You figure it out. If you need help, I can help. And so that lets me kind of be more part of the business and the organization and work at a higher level than just in the IT weeds all day long. And so as that philosophy kind of embedded itself in our organization, it really gave me the ability to kind of get out of the day-to-day of, okay, what's happening with our database today? What's happening with our network today? What's happening with our systems today? I can let the smart people that I brought in who know what they're doing, manage all that stuff. And then they just tell me when they have problems. And then I come to them and say, hey, guess what? We decided to do this. Here's how it's going to help the organization. I need you guys to think of a way we can do this. And then they get all excited and they run off and they come up with ideas, and we all get back together and off they go. And it's given me an amazing amount of freedom. It's been incredible. And so I think that's been, it's not a tool, but it certainly allowed me to, I guess, level up if you want to call it that.
Yeah, no, I think empowering people to make decisions that benefit sounds like a huge way to make an improvement on an organization. Which vendors have you most enjoyed working with in your career, and why?
That is a great question. Honestly, I like working with most of the vendors that we have. Now, we always have challenges with vendors, right? There are always issues because not everybody's perfect. And as long as people are being honest with me and acting like partners, then I love working with vendors. I absolutely love it. I think we get a lot of things accomplished by being partners and proactive and collaborators rather than this adversarial position that I think a lot of folks take. And so like you're always trying to get me, or you're out to try and put one over on me. I think it's always healthy to be a little bit skeptical and check and make sure and verify. But if you know that you have a partnership with somebody, it's an incredible experience, and so it makes for a great experience. And that's something that I learned early on with the vendors that I'm working with. Typically, it doesn't take long to figure that out with somebody, and then once you do, off and running. And a lot of the vendors that we have here, we've had since I got here, and we don't move things around too much. I know the good folks and the ones who are doing it for the right reason, and we keep them around. So yeah, I've had a great run with a lot of the vendors that we have here. What's
next for Sycuan Casino Resort?
Yeah, well, obviously we've got a couple of big things that are happening right now. The tribe is part owner of a new soccer club, MLS team. We're building out the training facility here at the golf course. It's going to take over part of that golf course space as well as the hotel over there, and we're helping with that a little bit. They do have a division. The San Diego Football Club has a division that's doing all of the construction and planning around that. But our team has been instrumental in helping get them set up and get them started over there. And then we're helping support the tribe, because the tribe is going to be heavily involved in that. And so that's a big thing for us, and making sure that the casino is supporting the tribal government so that they can continue to do that. And then, being a place where people want to come to be a part of the football club. And so building out facilities where people can watch games together, and where we can host events for the players and the, all of the fans that want to come out and be a part of that. So we're very excited about that. That's I think they kick off in early 2025 is when the season starts, and that's when the soccer team's going to be ready to go. So that's really neat. And then honestly, internally, just to the casino, I think one of the big things for us this year is really kind of making sure that we have all of the things and all of the tools that we need for growth over the coming years. We've been growing and changing so fast over the last 2 to 3 years, partly because we've had to be flexible with a lot of the things that we do. Again, I hate to harp on the whole COVID thing, but it makes people think a lot about who you are and what you want to try and accomplish. And so, I wouldn't say pivoted, but we certainly relooked at who are our customers, what kind of services do we want to offer, how do we want to offer those services, and so making a lot of those changes over the last 3 years. Now we're at a point where we're like, okay, let's reposition ourselves, make sure everything's going the way it's supposed to be going, and then get ready for the next phase of changes that are going to happen, and because the industry's changing too. And so we're kind of trying to be in a position where we can adapt and move quickly as the industry changes, and as gaming changes, and as our customers change, because obviously we've got a new wave of customers in that are younger and that want different things, and so we need to be ready for that too.
Are there any of those changes that you'd like to highlight in terms of the customers?
Yeah, most of the things that we're doing, at least from a technology standpoint, are really infrastructure related. So obviously rolling out things to support better analytics, things to support higher capacity networking, wireless location services, things like that within the organization, and then tools. Obviously everyone's looking at AI and how they're going to use AI. Had some great conversations today at the Tribal Net Regional that we had here about AI, and I think we're excited to embrace a lot of that, and so that'll be a big part. I mean, that's going to be, for most organizations in a year or two, that's going to be infrastructure. That's not going to be pie in the sky, oh, how do we use AI? That's going to be like, your network or your storage or your servers. You're going to have an AI platform that everyone uses, and people need to be ready for that, and we're certainly going to try to be.
If you had $10 and you walked into a gas station on a road trip, you're 4 hours in, got 4 hours left,
yeah.
Sacramento to San Diego roughly. $10, what are you getting from that gas station?
So I have a horrible guilty pleasure. And I love them, and I can't buy them, because if I eat them, or if I buy them, I'll absolutely eat the entire bag. But I love Tapatio Doritos. I absolutely love Tapatio Doritos. They are amazing, and I really can down an entire bag. Now, they're horrible to eat on a road trip, because they turn your fingers bright orange, and it's really bad for your steering wheel.
The fingers of shame.
Yes. But they're so tasty. I would, every time I'd stop, I'd buy one.
Okay, awesome. Are you a big spicy guy?
I love spicy food.
Okay.
I love spicy food.
Cool.
Yeah. I grow peppers in my garden. I grow Carolina Reapers and Yeah, all this pepper. My dad does. I had a grove of Thai chili peppers last year. They just would not stop growing. They were growing everywhere. And so I was trying to figure out what to do. So I've got a bunch frozen. I made a bunch into salsas. Yeah.
Thai chili salsa.
Yeah.
Well, listen, when I come back to San Diego, I'm stopping by your place specifically for that.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. Where should our audience connect with you?
There's all kinds of great ways to connect with me. Certainly, I'm available, through the organizations that I'm a part of, whether it's Tribal Hub or the Tribal ISAC. LinkedIn's a great way to connect with me. If people want to reach out on LinkedIn and connect with me, I am absolutely available. And I love, one of the things, being a part of some of those organizations, we really try and foster this community and make sure that we're all sharing best practices and information. We all have the same challenges, and so I love chatting with folks from all over the country and honestly all over the world about the challenges that they have in this industry and the what we're all trying to fix and trying to get better at. And so I love chatting with people about different things that they're doing. We all learn from each other. It's amazing, and so people can absolutely get a hold of me whenever they want, and I'm happy to chat with them.
Cool. Any organizations, projects, anything you'd like to plug?
Well, definitely the Tribal ISAC. I think that's a spectacular organization. They do a ton for the tribes. All tribes have challenges with cybersecurity. And one of the things that we're trying to do is really level the playing field for all of the tribes. We need to get more information out in the hands of the smaller tribes. We need to give them tools and things that they can use to be more cyber aware and cyber secure. And so that organization does a spectacular job of it. The more people that we have as part of that organization, the better we all are. And so that's certainly something I encourage a lot of folks to look into. And if they can be a part of it, we'd love to have them be a part of it. So that's definitely, I think, the highlight for me.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with me today, Patrick.
You are very welcome. You're very welcome. I enjoyed it.
Thanks for sticking around to the end of the podcast. Click the follow or subscribe button on whatever platform you're listening and leave us a review. It helps a lot. If you have a restaurant or casino operator in the market for a new point of sale, check out PDQ POS.com. Thanks.
Beautiful.